What's the example that you set for your kids? Have you ever thought about the actions that you're taking that they're witnessing? For the majority of men, they don't. What they see is exactly what they want to see. They want to see that they go to work and they work hard and they do all these things that society has told them that they're supposed to do to provide a life for their family. But when their kids get older and that's all they focused on and they wonder why the kid's acting up, perhaps the opportunity is in the reflection of what they did in the presence of the child. Can you honestly go back and look at your life and say that you set a good example for your child on the way that they're supposed to behave as an adult? I can't say that I did a great job when my daughter was little. In fact, I can say that I did a horrible job. I was removed, I was angry, I was tired, and oftentimes I snapped and bit everyone's head off because I didn't feel good about myself. There were a lot of moments that I can say that I'm not proud of, and I could continue to beat myself up and continue to be a poor example. Or I could take accountability and responsibility for myself in the way that I am and the actions that I take for what my family can see when I'm there in front of them. Roll that intro. I want to thank you for joining us on the Man Up and Own It show. And right now, I want you to take this opportunity to hit the follow button so you can get all of the episodes that we produce. And today, I'm shared here with my lovely wife as we talk about the experiences that I faced when I was younger as an adult, and to hopefully help you deal with the experiences that you may be facing and overcome those difficulties. Thank you for joining me, cutie.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
This is definitely an episode that won't be comfortable for the majority of men out there.
I know, my hands are sweating.
Now, my comfortability with it is very high because I understood and understand what it was that I did that was detrimental to our family. It wasn't easy living with me when we first got married, was it?
No, it was horrible. Just kidding.
And I'm sure it wasn't easy because the fact is I chose to follow the path that my father laid out for me, and that was just work all the time. Mm-hmm. I had a father that was a power plant operator, and he worked odd shifts all the time. It was rotating, and in fact, the only time that I did see him is when I was in trouble. So I learned to almost be in fear of my father, but I respected him because what he was doing was giving me the opportunity to be in scouts, to play basketball, to travel with my grandparents, to go do all these amazing things, but I never got the love, the appreciation, or the example that I needed to be a quality father in my daughter's life.
And I think that's what you try to provide for many years. I mean, when Cameron was little, she's 12 now, and when she was little, she did rock climbing, she did cheerleading, she did tumbling, she did all the things, right? At a very young age, she did swimming since she was 6 months old. So you have always provided things for her to do that other kids may or may not get, but you were always at work, right?
And when I wasn't at work, I was falling asleep.
Yeah. And another thing was that she never went to a babysitter.
Yep.
You decided to work nights to be able to watch her during the day while I went to either school or work. And those, first 3-4 years, you did that. And it was challenging because I didn't have you at home. So she slept with me till she was like 3. And while she had all these other things, she didn't have you there. She remembers you as my dad was sleeping. I had to take care of my daddy because my daddy's sleeping, or I have to be quiet.
Which is a disservice not only to our daughter, but it's also a disservice to me, because when I look back at those moments, I don't remember them. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the majority of my daughter being a baby. I was so tired all the time from working nights all the time, but I was just following the example that I was set. And it also robbed me of my own self-respect, because in a way I knew what I was doing was wrong. I knew it down at my core, but it's also what I thought was right. So I was in conflict. How did me being removed from the family affect you?
It made me grow apart. Like, it made me learn to be without you. Like, I had your financial support, and that was great because we had the opportunity to go and do things, but it was Cameron and I for the longest time. So I learned to live without you in a way. And that was challenging because, I went to the gym, I went to lunch, and it was always Cameron and I, and you were asleep. And I remember this very vividly. We went to saw Jake Dunham, that comedian.
Oh, I wanted to go see that so bad.
And I booked it, and you did go. You were there. You were asleep.
I was physically there. I was not mentally awake.
So that was one of the first times that Cameron was left at a babysitter's. Remember? We had a friend and she went and stayed there. She was little. And you and I were supposed to have this date night and go. And I was like watching. We were like front row. And you were asleep. You were like... So it was horrible. I was like, why are we even here? And it started chipping away. It started drifting me apart. And I was like, and I started resenting you. And I think that was a huge thing where I started resenting you and being mad because you weren't part of our life. And you're like, but I'm giving you all this money. I'm giving you all this. And I'm like, that's not what I want. I want my husband. I want someone to go and play with Cameron, go to the park, go for a walk, go have dinner. And it was just that challenge.
Absolutely. And I think that was a part of the problem that I had. Was I thought I was doing what was right. Mm-hmm. I knew that I was doing you a disservice. I knew I was doing our daughter a disservice, but I couldn't understand why you resented me, why you hated me, why you didn't respect what I was doing, until Walmart shut down my store. And then I started to come to the realization of everything that I had invested in was all for naught. Mm-hmm. That the company that I thought was going to take care of me and to provide a future for my family and all the sacrifices that I had made of my family to provide for my family was worthless. And then we saw the opportunity. There was a last spark of hope. We got the opportunity to move to Phoenix. And we took it. Little did I know that all of that resentment, all of the things that I had done to create the animosity, the division in our relationship would come to light. And I think a lot of men face that. They deal with this idea that they're doing what's right, but yet they lack the perspective or the ability to view it from their spouse's side and how their actions of what they can witness is actually impacting their viewpoint of who that man is. Did you have that of me? Did you see me as a lesser man?
Yes. It's true. Like, I didn't have the confidence that you were going to be able to do something because you hadn't done it.
Mm-hmm.
I know you were a great provider. I know I wasn't going to starve. I knew that I had money in the bank account, but I didn't know whether you were going to show up to Cameron's school awake, or you were going to show up for a dinner, or we were going to be able to go to a friend's house, or we were going to go be able to be a family because you weren't there.
Absolutely. And even if I was there, I wasn't there. Physically, like, that matters. And the way that we show up inside of our family and the way that we set that example for them as men, we're the leaders. We're the first ones that go into battle. I was thinking of something here recently, was about the Viking culture. And yes, the men fought, but the women fought too.
You want to see me in Viking clothes?
That's for another episode. But the idea that they followed the lead of the men, they learned how to be strong by the example that the men were setting. And unfortunately, we don't have that in our society anymore because we have followed a construct that creates resentment. And then that resentment actually never gets handled appropriately. Now, we had our problems, but we haven't given up. And that's one thing that I can say that I respect about you, that I am thankful for, that you never gave up on me. And you allowed me to take accountability for myself, and you gave me that opportunity to show you that I could change. And one thing that I would like to stress for the men out there is you have to look at yourself, define who it is that you want to be remembered as, and take action on that. Because if you don't, then you're leaving it up to chance about what people are going to think about who you are. Now, from a wife's perspective, what could you say that would benefit a man out there right now and help him have a better relationship with his wife?
I feel like making her a priority. And it doesn't have to be, well, making her a priority to make her feel that she's a priority. Taking her on dates, making special time for her. And just at home, like making dinner together, that could be something. Now we started doing that when Cameron goes to volleyball practice. You take me out on a date. We go eat sushi.
Secret date.
The Cameron doesn't know. But it's small things like that that have helped. And oftentimes when you're tired or I'm tired, we recognize that. Or when I get stressed out and I change 30 times because I don't know what to wear, you're like, what can I do to help you? And I think that, to me, is like, oh, okay, he's asking me what can he do? Because I oftentimes try to get Cameron ready. I try to get myself ready. I try to help you. And doing all those things puts a stress. And then I'm stressed out and I'm yelling. I'm like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And then when you take that moment to ask me, what can I do to help you? It's like, oh, well, maybe if you just take all the bags to the car, that'll take some stress off. And that makes me feel better.
I think the key point there was it can be little things. It doesn't have to be this big extravagance. Oftentimes, and I can relate to this when I was younger, when I was making a lot of those mistakes, is I would try to do the big thing because I thought the big thing would make up for all the little things that I didn't show up for. And in fact, all those little things actually outweighed the big thing. It actually made it so the big thing didn't even fucking matter. Because it's not the big thing that they remember. It's all the little things that happen throughout the day, throughout the weeks, throughout the months. Like, you get 1 or 2 vacations if you're lucky, but you get every day to live. So what is the impact that you're making based off of the actions that you're taking with the people that get to view you all the time? And don't get me wrong, I get it. You come home from work, you've worked hard, and you may not have the energy to wash the dishes while your wife is cooking the food. But that's why we're men, and we're built to be able to do the difficult task and to set the example. And now that I've been setting the example at home by doing the difficult task, even if they're little inconvenient things, our daughter has started to change. The bad habits that I created for her are starting to be differentiated. She's starting to get different ways about doing things. And before, you can attest to this, I was emotionally out of control, which what I would label as toxic masculinity. Now, I'm not a big fan on those types of labels, but in reality, when we don't control ourselves and we don't control our emotions, our actions are dictated on it. And as a man, it's easily defined that we're a problem. And unfortunately for us, our kids think that that's okay because what we do makes it acceptable for others to do.
Yeah. And one thing that you started doing and that has improved is like Sunday mornings when you go out and mow the lawn. Well, Cameron follows you and she picks up the dog poop. And those little things help around the house. Or when you are done with your dish, you pick it up and you rinse it off. Same thing as Cameron. She picks up her dish and she rinses it off. And it makes it easier for me to go and wash them or put them away because little things have been done already.
Absolutely.
And so you're setting the example. This is what you should do. If you leave the dishes everywhere, and then she's going to be like, well, Daddy leaves them. Why can't I leave them? Same thing with the shoes. You pick up your shoes at the end of the night, you take them home, you take them to the room and you put them away. Yep. So Cameron started doing that too.
Yeah, 100%. Our actions are what tell others of what we would like them to do. So if you don't want somebody to do something, then don't do it. If you don't want to be treated like shit, don't treat others like shit. You know, I live my life to my best by a single rule, and that's the golden rule. Treat others the way that you would want to be treated. It's really simple. And then to further that, like what's helped me with my wife is not taking responsibility for her feelings. She could be tired. She could be upset about something else. And if I say the wrong thing and she blows up and I take responsibility for those feelings, then I'm not giving her the justice to be able to actually express what's going on with her. Mm-hmm. So I have to be in control of myself. I have to be setting the example. So if I ever want that to come back for me, then she understands how to do it. And that's our responsibility as a man. Now, as a man, as a father, we set the example for our sons on how to be high quality men. And the wife for our son teaches him what a quality wife that he will possibly marry in his future. For our daughters, as a father, we teach them what a high quality man is and what she should look for in her life to marry, to take care of her into her adulthood. And for the wife, for the daughter, she's teaching them how they should hold their lives, how they should carry themselves, the actions that they should take, and the way that they should treat their husbands. And as a couple, we're teaching how to love somebody, whether that's physical love or that's just camaraderie. Our examples to our children are what exactly show them how that they're supposed to interact in their life. And if you're removed out of your family, then it's your fault for whoever they choose to have the example for them to live their life. What are you going to do about it when you look back and all you did was work, and then you wonder why your kids are out doing drugs, or they're out doing crimes, or they're out doing things that the media told them was cool to do? It's kind of sad if you think about it. Now, from a husband's point of view, what can a wife do to show her husband that she's supportive and that she wants him to succeed?
I think one thing that it's important is to know how his day is going, what he did, and just asking him, hey, what did you do today? What can I help you with? So for you, a lot of the things that I do is I help you on the back end of the business, writing things down, taking notes, doing photo shoots, things like that, because that helps you. So things that you're not able to do or that may take you 3 times as long, I try to take on that. And then one thing that you like is me asking you, how was your day? Tell me all about it. Give me play by play. I woke up, I went to the bathroom, I took a shower, la, 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 la. But it's being interested instead of waiting. Oh, let me tell you about my day. My day was so interesting. Let me tell you all about it. But it's just sitting down and talking about it. And then sometimes I hold your hand.
And she hit the nail on the head. It's about being interested. And if there's anything that you can take away from this other than setting the example in your family, the better way for you to improve your relationships is be interested, not interesting. By you caring and taking the initiative to find out about the other person, you're going to find more success, because then that person's going to feel heard and be seen. And those are the two things that we all commonly share. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree.
When I come home and I see you've had a bad day and I know you're stressed out, I know that I have to do one thing: make you feel seen and heard. Mm-hmm. And amazingly, everything changes. Your attitude improves. And sometimes that's calling you out on your shit. But it has to happen, because there's times that we have to be told that we're making a mistake and that you're better than that. You can do better. What's the example that you're setting for Cameron? Yeah. Or your own kid?
And Cameron sees it, because she'll be like, I'm so frustrated because I couldn't get that hit, or I didn't make that basket, or whatever, I didn't get that grade. But then we go to the root cause, like, how does that make you feel? What happened? Could you have done something better? And then she talks through it, and it's better, because she's like, oh, okay, well, this is what I can do next time. So it's not what could you have done in that moment, but it's like, what can you do next time? So you're getting over it and you're looking forward into the next situation.
Yeah, absolutely. The only failure is the inability to recognize a mistake as an opportunity. So the minute that you don't take advantage of something that you didn't get the way you wanted is when you mess up. Mm-hmm. I've messed up a lot with my wife because I didn't take advantage of the opportunities to make improvements in my life. And I was one of the lucky people that she didn't leave me. Other men out there have that same. Your wife hasn't given up on you yet. So take advantage of the opportunity to reflect on the things that have happened so you can make an improvement, not only for your spouse, but also for your kids. Because I can almost guarantee you that you don't want your kids to grow up living the same life that you lived. You probably want them to grow up and live a life that they can be proud of, that grew from what you were doing. Now, is there anything that you'd like to talk about or bring into this conversation?
I think that we are setting the example for our kids. We are the ones that are showing them what right and wrong looks like. And yes, they'll be able to switch it as they get older and learn more things and read books and magazines or whatever, and they can learn. But if they are able to do it at a younger age, if they're able to talk and speak their mind, or they're able to articulate their thoughts in a positive way versus yelling and screaming, they're going to be more successful in the long run, and they'll be able to attain success much quicker.
I think the thing that we all have to recognize is we're not raising children. We're not. And as much as people would like to be like, oh, let them be kids, let them, they have all this time to be adults. Well, if we compare that to the same way that we compare building a body and building muscle, the more repetitions you get, the better you get at building the muscle, and the higher quality the muscle gets. So if we change the perspective of raising children into raising adults, and we start giving them the opportunities to get some of the experiences as adults that's appropriate for their age and their ability to comprehend, you can start setting them up for success. Giving them the opportunity to make a choice, and then talking to them about what would the repercussions be of the choice, whether they're good or they're bad. There is always repercussions. So giving them the opportunity to take action, to have the repetitions as adults, only leads them to the success of an adult. Would you agree?
I agree.
I want to thank everyone out there. And this message for today is something that every one of you should be paying more attention to. I want to thank you for being a dad. I want to thank you for going out and working hard to provide for your family. But I also want you to know that's only one responsibility that you have. You have an example to set at home. Your family deserves a man to be there to set the example for the way they live their life. And being alongside your partner and showing how that you are supposed to interact with another person, how you're supposed to love another person, and setting that example for your children is so important. So if you're only focused on making money, then you're allowing someone else to teach your kids how to do that. And if they don't grow up the way that you would want them to grow up, it is your fault. It is your responsibility to do something different. I challenge you today. Look at your life. Look at your family. Are they behaving the way that you would want them to? Are you getting the results that you want? And if not, make an assessment on what are the things that you can do to live a life that you can be proud of. So when you die, the people will be saying the things that you want them about you when they're up at the pulpit talking about how great or hideous that you are. Make those changes in your life so you can be remembered as the man that you want to be. And I want to thank you and everyone else out here for joining me and my lovely wife on this podcast, the Man Up and Own It Show, where we talk about experiences and difficulties that men may face and helping them overcome it by telling the stories of the men that have done it. Thank you.